Our study for this video, Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skýnyrd. Really good example of some nice southern blues rock. Chord changes, super easy. D chord, we're familiar with that. C, add 9, getting a bit of a different angle so you can see the fingers better. And then finishing with G. What's important here is that when you go through the chords, please note that finger number 3, the nice and clearly numbered for you, your third finger doesn't move. There's my D, there's my C at 9. You may include the pinky if you want to. In fact, I'd encourage that. And then we finish on G. Now, the E minor pentatonic riff, which we'll debate later, is also played around this. And slow motion, just to prep you in advance, we're going to go. Those are going to be the notes, but we'll get around there. Let's first start with the chords and the picking pattern for each of them. Each of the chords starts with a double stroke on the bass note, which is going to be the 4th string for D chord. Then we strike the 2nd string and the 3rd string. So slow motion for D. If you want to play it through with me, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for the C add 9. Remember, finger 3 doesn't move. There's your C add 9. You can see nice and clearly inside there again. You see the finger positioning of the 3rd finger. We can bring the pinky like I said. And then your picking pattern for the C add 9, sort of the same, but the only real difference is you're going to start on the 5th string. And then on 2 strings, 2 and 3 again. So your root note or your bass note for each chord is going to differ. For the D, it's the 4th string. For the C add 9. 5th string, and for the G, 6th. And you're just going to strum the G once, like that. If you take the whole thing through, it should sound something like this. G chord is in place. I'm going to count this in and we play it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we have that E minor pentatonic riff, which I'm going to break down slow motion for us. I'm going to focus now mainly on the fretting hand. You're going to start with an open 5th string, and you're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret with the 1st finger. So I'm playing the 5th string. Finger number 1 is hammering on, so I'm not picking that. Then I go to the open 4th string. You can see it vibrate in the video. I hammer on and I pull off. So if I put those 5 notes together, slow motion, it will sound like this. And then we finish off onto the 2nd fret of the 5th string and then cross over to a 2 and a 0 pulled off from the 2nd fret to the open position on the 3rd string. So if I bring both hands into view now, you can actually see quite clearly when I'm picking, when I'm not picking, which will help reinforce the hammer-ons and pull-offs. Slow motion, open, 2, open, 2, open, back up to the 2, cross over 2, and open. On the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Now if you put that in context with the chords, now you'll notice that while I was playing this, fingers 3 and 4 hadn't moved. They're still staying exactly where they were. So these 2 fingers are sort of giving me positioning. They're helping me keep my hand in context to the neck. So if you don't need to move your fingers, don't. Okay. We're going to take through the complete chord progression now with this E minor pentatonic, super slow motion. So you've got your D ready. Let's take it through. 2, 3, 4, and... got that. Now to try and get both hands into view, maybe just a little bit quicker. It always feels weird when we intentionally want to play something slow. It feels unnatural sometimes. And so if it feels weird, when you pick up the speed, everything will come into place. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Now after that, you do the same chord sequence again, and on the PDF file it says repeat the chords D, C for C9 and G. So you do that again. And then you finish with a very cool riff. And I'm going to show us how to play that. Now, everything's on the third string, the G, and it's going to start with the open notes. You're going to have, starts with a 2 on the third string, not an open. It goes from the 2 to an open string. Sorry about that. And then it plays the open again. So it's pick the 2, pull off to the open, play the open once more. So it's 3 notes we're sounding, but we're only plucking the first and the third note. Then you've got a choice of 2 options. You can either bring the first finger up to fret 4 and then end on fret number 5, or you can use different fingers. Whichever works better for you, I don't mind, but it's fast. And again, just to reinforce those, hammer-ons and pull-offs, in this particular case all pull-offs, you can see there, plucking the third, sounding as a result from the pull-off, then play the open string. Fret number 4, pick, flick, pick, and end up on the 5th fret of the 3rd. Let's put everything together now. We're going to zoom out a little bit so you can see left and right hands together there. Get a nice overall view, and we're going to play the entire top phrase the whole way through, which is the basic sort of theme for the entire song. There are other little sort of variations, things like that go through the piece. I'm not going to play every single phrase they do. These are your signature phrases. In other words, if you play these phrases, all your friends will recognize Sweet Home Alabama. It's the introduction, and they do play these particular themes most throughout the song. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you got your song working quite nicely. Now, halfway through, you're going to recognize something that sounds like this. Let me take you through that. You will find the tab on your PDF halfway through the page. It says Instrumental Bridge, and it starts off with a hammer-on from fret 7 to fret 9. That's the hammer-on, 3rd finger. And then you're going to bring the finger flat to get a double stroke. Something like that. Super slow motion again. Bring both hands into play so you can see what we're doing with the techniques. Pick, hammer on, first finger goes flat, down up, so it's... Then you shift 2 frets down and do almost the same thing. But listen to the timing between this one and this one. You'll notice that the double stroke for the D is quick. That's why we do the down up. And the double stroke for the C isn't that quick, which is why we do both down strokes. It helps you with the timing. So one more time, the D and C combo. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got that. Okay, and we finish off with the G, which you're going to hammer on. So I'm first striking the open 6th E string, and then I'm going to, while it's ringing, I'm going to hammer on like that into the G chord shape, and then I'm going to divide my chord G in 3. When I say in 3, watch my picking hand. There's my hammer on, and I'm going to go. So it's basically top, middle, thin strings, bottom, middle, back to the top again. And the top and bottom thing can get a little bit confusing because the top with respect to gravity is actually the bottom in pitch. So top from the floor, middle, thin strings, back to the middle, back to the top string. So all together. And if you string everything together now, super slow motion, let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and at speed. And you got got your basic riff happening inside there. Hope you enjoyed Sweet Home Alabama. Remember to learn your E minor pentatonic scale as well. I'm going to just take you through that just so you can get to know the scale. It's a very important scale. So if scales are new to you, this is maybe a good one to get going with. Starting from your open 6th string, then you go to fret number 3 onto the open 5th string, fret number 2, open 4th, 2nd fret, open 3rd string, 2nd fret, open 2nd string, 3rd fret, open 1st string, 3rd fret. So let's take this through slowly. And when you're reversing or descending, you first play the fretted note, 3rd fret, open, 3rd fret, open, 2nd fret, open, and so on. So you end on the open 6th string. Your scale, you can do it with picking that I just did now. If you do picking, make sure you're alternating strokes, which means down, up, down, up, down, up. You can see my hand going up and down. That's the one way to practice it. And the other one is by hammer-ons. So it's pick, hammer-on at the top. And when you put it together, it's a much smoother legato, which is a fancy word for smooth and flowing. And when you descend it, you pull off. Pull off. Pull off. And then again, more smoother. And that sounds pretty cool. And the nice thing with that there, if you're busy jamming Sweet Home Alabama, you could end up doing something like this. And all that I'm doing there, or whatever I want to do, all those little phrases are coming through from that E minor pentatonic scale, which you can pull off or pick. There was a combination of both. So learn the scale, get to improvise a little bit, try and introduce it, and have some fun. And it really does work. Any questions, you know how to reach me. You've got my WhatsApp details. You've got the PDF file as well. Hope you have an awesome week. Enjoy.